Hi, everybody, and welcome to my channel. Jackie here. Just wanted to start really actually working on this vlog here, talking about how to live frugally as a senior, how to live in a tiny space, just a lot of different things, and how to get all your bills paid off if you're in debt. And guess why I'm addressing these things, because these are things that I'm facing in my own life. And so I know others out there are as well. So topics that are going to be on this channel will be maybe my budget. And I'll refer to some other channels that I'm learning from and kind of let you know where they are and about those channels. And also my financial plan, without going into too much of the bloody gory details of my finances, but how I plan to do this, a debt snowball, and resolve this issue. And the other thing is trying to make my little studio apartment here look nicer. I have nothing on my walls. I have my craft table and things piled up. So maybe I'm going to take you on some of the adventure of how I make it look nicer and kind of make it look more like a little home for myself. And I also am really trying hard to keep my grocery budget really tight and under control. So I'll probably be doing some grocery hauls. Another thing that I'm planning on doing is a once a week contemplative stitch day, probably on Saturdays for Stitch Day. And what I mean by that is life is stressful, and we have some stress right now going on in the world. I think some of us are stressed out for different reasons than others, but nonetheless there is. Or it could just be something going on in your own home and you need to relax. And so, I am a faith-based person, so probably you're going to hear a little bit of faith-based material on here. But mainly, this is a contemplative stitch where I'm going to probably just sit and work on one of my hand stitching projects, whether that be some cross stitch, some embroidery, or some slow stitching. So it could change every time, and it won't focus on the stitching. It's going to focus on me sitting here stitching and having some coffee or something and kind of chit-chatting while I do it. Sometimes there won't be any speech in it. It'll just be maybe some quiet contemplative music, but it's going to be Stitch Saturdays. And I'm not going to even go into how I stitch or my projects or even what they look like. I have another channel that's related to that. But I think it's just going to be a nice time of contemplation. It'll be alive, unless I'm out of town or something, and then, of course, I won't do it. But when I'm in town, I will for certain be doing that. And when I can, and I'm out of town and I have a good internet connection, I'll do that. But if you go to a channel called Ellen's Abundant Living, and I will look it up and put that in the description below, a connection to it so that you can find it. She's the one I'm going to feature now, and she's kind of inspired me to include others on here in my budget journey. And also what I want to include in here, not necessarily recipes, but I'm working hard to improve my diet and my health. So what am I doing about that? And, some food's going to be involved in that. And right now, because the budget is so tight, please excuse my dog. You may hear her. She's trying to get me to throw her ball right while I'm trying to do this. And she's pretty determined. She may pop her head up here. I don't know. She is determined that almost 24 hours a day, I shall throw the ball for her. So, and if I stop, That's what this pitter-pattering is all about. But anyway, I love my little girl. She's a little Yorkie poo, and get me to throw the ball for her right now. And if I throw it, she'll just be back in about 2 seconds, and we'll have to do this all over again. So, gonna hold off. What's happening is she keeps jumping up here, showing me where she put the ball. Anyway, I love her to death. She's great. But I don't like throwing the ball constantly all day. She's one of those dogs that needs to have one of those machines that you can get that throws the dog's ball for him, and then she would learn how to put the ball in there. Anyway, and I'm also going to be having a small garden this summer. So I'll take you along on that. Gardening here is an adventure. We live in the panhandle of Texas, and it's pretty much, the area where we live is pretty much a desert area. We live on the rim of a canyon, a national state, not a national park, a state park, Palo Duro Canyon. And my brother and his wife own this land, and his wife's parents have a house out here. And I live in a little tiny casita. I call it a casita, or actually I call it my studio, because it started out, it was going to be like a little studio, and I could come back here and sew and do my quilting and stuff as I traveled and have a place to sleep. And I've had some mechanical issues with my van and some other issues going on in my life. And I've been here now for a year without going anywhere. It's just a long, narrow room is what it is. And I'd like to redo it. And I've got my sewing machine. It's a huge sewing machine quilting table here. I've got one recliner chair and a twin bed. I've got a big craft and that's what's right here. You see behind me, and all of those little bins and stuff. That's all my little doodads that I use for junk journaling, and some multimedia art that I like to do. And then I have a little desk over here that is set up for my niece to come and work on I'm in the process of redoing everything. I'm hoping to get her to help me rearrange my furniture this weekend, if we have time. But we'll see. I want to do some things to kind of make it feel and look more like a home. And because I'm going to be here several years, and it's a cute little place. But living out here on this desert, it's really difficult to garden. We have a lot of, I figured out there are lizard holes out there. I thought, what lives in these little holes? And I figured out there's a lot of lizards. Some of them even look like little tiny. Now, there's no alligators in this part of Texas. That's all in southern Texas. But I figured they look like little tiny miniature alligators. I don't know what kind of lizards those are, but there's a bunch of different types of lizards. This past summer, we had an invasion of grasshoppers. It was something else. And, it was really the first time in years I've tried to put in a garden. And it was pretty much a disaster. I had a couple of handfuls of some cherry tomatoes, which were just delicious. 1 or 2 jalapeno peppers, and a couple of Tabasco peppers. And that's all I got. Spent so much on that garden, it was pretty ridiculous. The other day, my sister-in-law came over and gifted me these. She had been in our local Ollie's, and they had some raised little flower beds, garden beds, that will be perfect for planting some things like some peppers in it. You couldn't really put squash plants or anything like that in there, because they just don't like that. But, yeah, they will be perfect for some things like peppers and things like that. So, I might look at getting a few more of those. I like the idea of having it that elevated. They're probably my waist level. So we'll see. Right now it's a tiny little backyard, and it's just a big sticker patch. I call it a big sticker patch, even though it's a tiny little yard, because the entire thing is covered in stickers. I'm literally thinking about putting down, something to cover it up. So, you can buy that stuff, and then ordering a load of rocks and putting out there. It's just I need a grassy area for my dog, because the rocks here, if you did the whole thing in rocks, the heat here in the summertime is going to make it too hot for her little paws out there. So I don't know exactly how I'm going to deal with this, because I haven't. Last summer I tried. I could not get rid of the sticker plants. And I don't want to put a bunch of chemicals out there. We have a lot of wildlife and stuff in the area, and I just feel a responsibility to do my best to avoid that kind of thing. So, being on the edge of a state park like that, we're not down in the canyon. We're not down in the state park. But a lot of the wildlife comes up here. And, they're free to roam. They're not caged in down there. And there's mountain lions down there. There's big old desert turtles down there. And there's tons of coyotes. Although when they come through here, I've only seen them once. And they seem to just be passing through at night. I've not really seen them other than that. We've got fox that pretty regularly hang around, and a bunch of mule deer. The mule deer come up here, and we do keep water up here for the mule deer. It's hard for them to get water, and so we do keep water and things up here for the mule deer. And there's some trees, and I think they like to come up for the shade. And so you'll see like 15, 20 of them over there underneath the tree, the big tree that we have. But anyway, I live out on this property, and my brother and his wife have a home. His wife's parents have a mobile home back behind, and as I said, I live in this little casita. I'm retired, thinking about getting a part-time job just to keep myself busy, and help me with my debt snowball. But I really don't want to. I was a critical care nurse for over 40 years, quite a bit over 40 years. But if I say how much that was, I'd give away. Well, I'll just tell you, I am 66 years old, and I have been retired for almost 4 years now. And I've done a little bit of work in the national parks, working for nonprofits, which I had a blast. I've actually done 3 seasons between Yellowstone and Grand Canyon. But there's some issues I'm not going to get to go this year. So I realize that I'm through with that part of my life. It's been difficult for me to accept it. Up until this time last year, I was hiking. Went to Spain and hiked. Didn't make the whole 500-mile hike because I got an injury. But I would have if I hadn't done that. There was some really poor planning that I did. But when I got back home, I got a case of, I believe it was flu type A. Only one of us in the house got tested, and we were all sick with the same thing. And he had flu type A. So I'm assuming that's what I had. And it changed my life. And the doctors were telling me that this was more probably related to some damage that I had during the pandemic, when I got the pandemic thing, which I don't know if you're allowed to say that on YouTube anymore yet or not. It was one of the things you didn't mention, or you got censored for a long time. But basically, I got it, and it left me with this hacky cough. And when I got that flu, it's just progressed since then. So I don't think I'm going to be going back. My plan had been to go back this coming fall and finish that hike in Spain, the Camino de Santiago. And it's been a huge emotional issue for me that I'm not going to get to do that. And I know things like this happen when you're aging. Things happen to your health. Who would have thought that having one little flu bug, though, would have changed things so dramatically for me? But it has. And in addition to that, because I haven't felt well, but I haven't changed my eating patterns from when I was hiking all the time, I have gained a tremendous amount of weight. So one of the things, in addition to my remodeling and my gardening and my budget, that we're going to talk about is my health journey. And there may be some recipe sharing. I'm really not going to go on a special diet. I keep thinking about it, but I think what I really need to do is just balance my meals, get my portions under control and snacking under control, and kind of do need to change some of what I'm eating. I've been eating a lot of sandwiches, and I've been drinking a lot of coffee with those international creamers in it, and I've gained weight off of those international creamers in the past. I used to be quite heavy, way up in the high 300s, like 375. Lost most of my weight. Took a long time. Ups and downs, lose it, gain it, lose it, gain it, lose it, gain it. And this time, I've gained about 60 pounds. My body feels every ounce of that 60 pounds. So that, coupled with whatever happened with that flu, and I have an autoimmune disorder, and so that leaves fatigue anyway. But so I need to do what I can do on my part to live the rest of my life healthfully and abundantly. Do I think it's going to prevent me from dying or anything? No. It may not even make me live longer. I don't know. But what I want to do is live healthfully and abundantly. Now, I ate plant-based for about 5 years, and I really enjoyed it. But I don't know if I would ever go fully plant-based again. I just enjoy the meat, but I can see myself eating that way a lot. I actually really liked it. I liked the food. And I think that the reason that my labs and everything were so good when I was eating plant-based was because I was more careful about what I ate so that I would get all my nutrients in. So we're going to see what happens. I think we're just going to see how I end up eating. I don't think I'm going to follow any special plan. I'm just going to avoid snacking. And when I do snack, I want to try to make myself keep some cut up veggies and things like that in the fridge, for when I do have the urge to snack. I'm kind of starting to lose my desire for ultra sweets. I like Jell-O, a couple of other things like that. But so the other thing is I want to see how, if I can get my step count back up, and at least start doing some day hiking again. I may not be able to go overseas and hike 100 and some odd miles or 500 miles or whatever, or do the Pacific Crest Trail. And I retired early so I could try to do a lot of that stuff, and the big C hit. I've been retired for 4 years, and I retired a few years early specifically for that. And, it changed everything for all of us. So I don't think there is a human being on the earth left unscathed by all of that. And so how it's affected me is it's done some lung damage, and that was made worse by that flu, and it totally changed my retirement plan. But we're going to make something fun out of it anyway. It's just going to look different than what we originally planned. And that's kind of what we're going to do, huh, sweet pie? Yeah. Yeah, we're going to get you a haircut and a bath. She's like looking at me like, oh, you only think you're going to give me a haircut and a bath. But yeah, we are, because I want everybody to meet my little beauty queen, and you're a mess right now. She has been outside and rolled around in those sticker beds. And her hair She's a Yorkie poo, and her hair is like cotton. I can brush her hair and her make one trip out there and do that whole rolling around thing, and it's like clumped, like she's not been ever getting her hair brushed. I mean, I'm like, how did that happen like in one day? She's just an athletic little girl. She's a good girl. She's a beautiful girl. She's my beautiful sweetie pie. Yes, her is. And Mama loves her a lot. There's not another girl like her. She's a good girl. Has a ball fetish with her little toy ball, but she sleeps with that little toy ball. It's the love of her life. She loves me, though. She takes care of me. She seems to know when I'm not feeling well. And she's just a great little girl. Now her eyes are getting droopy. She's getting tired. I think it's about 11:30 at night here. And she's had an active day of ball chasing. So she's getting tired, I think. We've had living on the side of the canyon like this, and in this area, plus my apartment is built on the side of a barn. It's not really a barn. It's a one of those big blue metal buildings. I call it a barn. I think the rest of my family calls it a garage. I call it a barn. But there's no animals in here or anything. There's a bunch of stuff stored out there in the other part of it. And this was apparently used to be like an office or something. Apparently one of the previous owners of the property must have run a business out here. But there's a kitchen galley and a bathroom. And so my family was just kind enough to come in here and repaint it and kind of upgrade some of the stuff and make me a little place here. And it works really well for me. And like I say, some point I probably am going to look at an apartment or something. But for right now, this works well for hopefully getting out in a camper van that I have and getting some traveling done, since the hiking is not working out for me anymore. Anyway, so I'll tell you, I have some other channels. I have this channel. No, I have hardly any subscribers to any of them. I'm not really worried about that. Maybe I should worry about it a little bit more, but I have it's called Jacqueline Ann Designs, and on that channel, that's where I do, I participate in Floss Tube on there. I participate in some slow stitch communities using that channel. And some quilting communities. So that's what I use that channel for, is for my fiber arts and for my junk journaling and multimedia. And then I have a Bible study channel that I went and deleted almost everything on it recently. So there's not hardly anything there. I'm fixing to start adding quite a bit to it. Excuse me. And hopefully people will enjoy that. If you're interested in Bible study, it's called GIFT, G-I-F-T, Growing in Faith Together. I'll put links to all of these in the bottom. Then I have another one that I used to use as a plant-based cooking channel when I used to eat plant-based. And it's just been sitting dormant all this time. And I don't know. I may put my cooking adventure on that channel. I don't know. Or I just may stay dormant. Who knows? But it used to be something about eating plant-based, but I think right now it's about eating healthy over 60. I think I'd like to retitle it Healthy Eating for 1, 2, or More, or something like that. Because really healthy eating isn't age-driven, the way I look at it. So that's what's coming up on my channel. Um, so like Ellen at Ellen's Abundant Living, I'll have a daily cup of coffee and join Ellen in her cup of coffee. And it will invite you to come in and join me. And every morning, probably not every morning, but several times a week, I will post a video of having coffee. Depends on what. And then, like I say, I'm hoping to do a live on Saturdays where Stitching Saturdays. And like I say, I'm not going to focus on the stitching or what it is. You may not ever even see it. I'll just be here doing it and either having a conversation with you or just sitting here stitching, and maybe you'll be doing your stitching and listening to some copyright-free calming music. Always copyright-free on YouTube. So we'll see how all that goes as it develops. But join me for all those adventures in my personal life. I'm not going to, when it comes to decorating in here, I'm making everything. All the wall decorations, everything. So, or maybe finding things at Goodwill's, estate sales, garage sales, things like that. So it's not anything as far as putting things on the wall and stuff that's going to happen very rapidly. Because I live on a fixed income. But, so we'll see how it all goes. And maybe if you are into frugal living and living your life abundantly and pleasantly as you age and live in a tiny house, how can you decorate it in a tiny, tiny space? Or just any of the things I've talked about, if you're interested in that, or just communing with and fellowshipping with other retirees and other people interested in frugal living. While I don't discuss religion and politics, and I will delete someone from the bottom who is giving anyone a hard time over politics or religion. I am a very, very ultra-devout Christian. I am politically to the right. But I believe that this world is made up of all sorts of people. If you didn't have all sorts of people with different political views or whatever views it is we're talking about here, how would the world ever get anywhere? How would there be discussions for science and science to grow and develop if everybody looked at everything the exact same way? I don't believe in getting on the pity pot because someone was elected that you don't like. Get out there and live, and then when the next election comes, get out there and vote. That's really the main thing. And so, therefore, we're going to make this an apolitical channel. And, I mean, it will always be faith-based. I can't help it. I've never been one to push my faith on anyone else or anything else. That's why I have a separate channel. But I also can't help but talk about my relationship with God just as part of my everyday life. It's my priority, actually, is to have Christ in my life. So, so that kind of lets you know. But like I say, I don't. I'm not here to tell you what you to believe, but the other channel will be there if you're interested in that kind of thing, and that's how I know you're interested as you come over there. But anyway, for right now, come and join me, and let's weave this journey apolitically. No politics are allowed in the comment section or on this channel. I will delete it. It's too divisive right now. We are a divided country. That's why I'm going to have the contemplative stitching Saturday, different things like that, because we need some peace. We need peace. And I, for one, do. And I want this to be a place of peace. So, let's do that way. And I'm just asking everybody to respect that. You can do whatever you want on your channels, just not here. In that we're going to keep, yes, I thoroughly believe in free speech, very much so. But this is not a political forum. So things belong where things belong. It's just like in the Bible, it says, for everything there is a season, a time, and a place. And this is not the season, time, or place on this particular channel. There are lots of channels for that, and that's great. Love you guys, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye. Oh, I wanted to excuse my hair. I got a really short haircut recently, and it just sticks out all the time. I have a cowlick in the back, and that sticks up. And I'm really bad about showering and then walking around and my hair's wet. And I can't wash my hair every day because it literally gets thin when I do that. The dermatologist told me that I needed to stop that business. So I did, but I still, you have to wash it. You have to keep your hair clean. I mean, what can I say? Maybe I don't do it every day, but I do shampoo my hair several times a week. And that's the only time it ever flattens out really nice. Even when I squirt it with water, I cannot get the fuzzies out of it. And that cowlick to go down. But the hair will grow out, and I'll work with the stylist. She's a stylist that's new to me, and we'll work together and come up with something that works. Yeah, I've got spiky hair right now, so don't let it shock you. Love y'all. Bye-bye.